Okie dokie.
So, have you been leaving the clap in the last episode? That's not.
No.
I
just. That is a thing you do not do.
Yeah.
No? Okay.
I did keep in a little bit of us talking about sound check.
Sure. Because
just for fun.
It's like establishing that this is a new setup we're unfamiliar with, cueing them into a little bit of our process, but also
process. You're sounding like
process.
Which one's
like Father Harrison?
Father Harrison.
Process.
Yeah. The process.
That's Canadian for process.
That's communist for process. As the episode this week. I was listening to it. No, I'm good. Anyway.
Anyway.
How are we doing today, folks?
Doing well. Today was a great day. It was a crazy week. Like, if you had asked me 5 minutes ago what day it is, I would have said Monday. That's how fast of a week it's been. So, but yeah, diving headlong into all of my classes and actually having 100 pages of reading to do every night is fun. So, yeah.
Good times. And unlike college, you actually need to read this stuff.
Well, the expectation is that it's literally impossible to read all of this stuff.
So it's kind of like math homework.
So skim it. And we'll talk about it in class. You have to be able to pick out the main points. But
gotcha.
If you try to, thoroughly read every page they give you to read, you'll be up till 3 a.m. every day. It's just not possible.
That sounds like death.
It sounds like major burnout. Major smoky burnout, right?
And, as every good seminarian knows, we all wake up at 5:30 every day to...
What time do you have? Do you do louds in the morning?
No, we do.
Just morning prayer at 9?
We do morning prayer at 8.
8, okay.
Which is considerably later than most places start their days, but...
Don't they usually do 6:30 at a lot of other places?
Yeah. 6:15 morning prayer, 6:30 mass, something to that effect. But those run out of... A lot of other seminaries run out of colleges. So they have 8 a.m. classes on the schedule where we dictate our own schedule.
So at a place like St. Thomas in Minneapolis or what have you, it'd be kind of a similar deal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You don't have to deal with that.
It was a long week for me in a different way. This week we did a little deal where the administrative team, we showed up to all 5 schools every morning to hand out coffee to parents as they're dropping their kids off as a little thank you for sticking with us in the pandemic and whatnot. So it was very well received, but I had to be at work an hour earlier than usual every day. So, I mean, I adjusted fine. It was just kind of a pain, but it did allow me to, enjoy some really nice mornings. It was nice and cool and sunny. And today, Nathan saw this too. There was a big old double rainbow you could see all over town. So with the sunrise coming through the clouds, so it was a pretty cool.
It was rather
morning.
lovely this morning out on the airstrip.
Yeah. The other thing too was I was able to get a lot of work done on this last wedding film that I've made. So I had left it for a month and a half, semi-unintentionally, but now I've finally gotten a lot of solid work into it. So feeling more productive these days.
Yeah. Today was the first day since I've been here that it wasn't disgustingly humid. It was actually just lovely. And
I think Monday is a high of 60 here. So the temperature took a little bit.
It is fairly September.
It is very September.
It's supposed to level off and be 70 72 for highs for the next week and a half. So it'll be pretty Indian summer, I think, which I really like this kind of weather. So
it'll certainly be nice walking to class.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, I haven't had to walk through the rain or anything. Actually, I walked back from last Buckluck in the rain. That was fun.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I've been adjusting to my classes.
I must not have been back yet. No, I wasn't.
No, you weren't.
Ah.
You showed up really late on Sunday.
Yeah, we had my sister's birthday party. So my oldest
Which
sister, Melanie,
Okay.
her and Henrik,
Right,
her
'cause
youngest, they share a
I
birthday.
should know Michelle's in July.
Yeah.
Or not
June.
July, June. I thought June. I said July because they both begin with J, and my mouth didn't stop.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, overall, good week. Kind of busy. It was stuff where it was like really front loaded. I was super busy in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I was just kind of twiddling my thumbs. But some cool stuff I'm working on for the schools, and good times were had by all. It's Friday, and I'm pooped. They had Girl Scout cookies, like a big old stack of boxes of Girl Scout cookies all week. So that was tough to not destroy an entire 2 boxes of those things as I was working. And today they had Sandy's Donuts in the break
I thought you were
room.
going to say it was a real struggle not to destroy the Girl Scouts.
I mean, if they'd showed up, I might not have been able to hold back my righteous anger. But
Seems odd that a Catholic school would have abortion cookies.
or ignorance member, you know. I mean, if you work with kids and a kid comes up to you selling something for something, that's maybe not on your mind. I don't.
Sure.
I can't read minds or hearts, so I pretend to occasionally with varying levels of accuracy.
So, interesting thing I did this week. So this weekend, I've got a Cousins Week coming up with my mom's side of the family. So we're going to go to Wisconsin and hang out there for a bit. And earlier this week, for that occasion, I bought a $12 bottle of Fireball. And that represents my first purchase at a liquor store since I turned 21.
Yeah.
Don't ask about the purchases before I turned 21.
All
Actually,
of those purchases were made by Riley.
right.
No.
And even
No,
after you
no.
turn 21.
Actually, Riley's the main reason I haven't gone yet.
Ah, yeah. So
Yeah, 'cause
you're an enabler.
Riley's just very generous with his sharing of the alcohol he buys.
Yes.
Spreading joy
So-
and liquid cheer all around. We're going to
throughout
have
the
to,
year.
for Christmas break, we're going to have to do some liquid cheer.
We're also going to have to
We
return the
certainly-
bottles he left here.
Yeah, that rhymed. That was cool.
It was.
Well,
I mean, you could stick them in a, if it fits, it ships USPS box and mail them to me.
yeah, maybe. I mean, the caps are pretty secure on those things, but maybe just a little something over the top of them.
Yeah.
We
And there's
we
a
have
few
plenty-
other things
we
that
have
I
plenty of
might
boxes.
need. So,
Yeah.
no, they have a specific box that
Oh,
anything
yeah.
you can stick into it, they'll ship it regardless of weight. So
Oh, sure. And you just pay for that class
shipping
of mail.
all nearly 2 liters of whiskey in by weight would be expensive.
Mhm.
Oh, sure.
So
And a little
being-
risky
oh.
if you're just doing regular old mail. But cool. I'm gonna rewind a little bit for the sake of the segue. So that little thing we said rhymed. We don't rhyme, but it is alliteration. This is not that great of a segue. But we're the Palladium Papists. I'm James.
I'm Nathan.
I'm Riley. That's where you were going with that.
Wait, what?
I was trying to figure out. Okay,
We'd had
where on earth is he going with this? How is he getting to Palladian Papists?
We have had smoother segues by not having segues.
It would.
That is
It's
very
my
true.
brand of segue. It's like painfully self-aware segue. Like I could theoretically be riding a segue while doing it and be more graceful. Anyway.
We're talking
Anyway.
about something this week.
Mm-hmm.
We are talking about a thing, and it's the rim of the sky that is Skyrim, the 2011 video game by Bethesda Studios.
The game you may famously know from Donkey and mod videos, or if you're a real person who just played the game.
That's also true. So, on its release in 2011, Skyrim was kind of this really significant development in visual, technology as far as video games are concerned.
Modern day 2011 gaming graphics.
Modern day 2011. It was a successor to Oblivion, which is the previous game in the series.
The series
that
is
was
called
released.
The Elder Scrolls, correct?
Yes, it's called The Elder Scrolls.
And Skyrim is the 5th entry?
The Skyrim is the 5th entry in that series. Oblivion is the 4th. Morrowind is the 3rd, and the other two are relatively unimportant because they aren't properly... They are very dramatically different from the other three.
Sure.
But I've never played them, and I don't know a whole lot about them because they are very old and difficult to get your hands on.
And probably a little clunky
Unlike
to play.
Skyrim.
Yeah.
Which is
even Morrowind is absurdly clunky. And that was 2002, I believe. So they were really trying to push the boundaries of 3D with, everything Morrowind onwards.
As it existed at the time.
Because most of what Bethesda had done with the earlier Elder Scrolls games and Fallout and stuff was all in 2D. But starting with Morrowind, they were starting to really see what 3D could do. Oblivion was, in its time, an extremely groundbreaking game in terms of pushing the boundaries of, video games, visual effects, and total world building and stuff. When you go back to it in the present day, if you've never played it when you were younger, and you're like, I can see how this was a huge leap, but boy, is this not Skyrim.
It ages about like Lord of the Rings from what I've seen, like the original.
Oblivion ages a lot worse than Lord of the Rings.
Or no, I'm thinking Skyrim.
Skyrim, yes.
Oblivion
Skyrim?
probably aged like the 80s cartoon Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I mean, a lot of it has this sort of hand-drawn texture feel to it in Oblivion, whereas Skyrim is very much this 3D modeled, computer modeled sort of visual style to it.
Okay.
So it's a really dramatic shift from that sort of... We can tell that these textures are super low poly and one color to this really advanced new engine that they had made for Skyrim. So first and foremost, it was a really big leap in visual effects, because that's kind of something Bethesda likes to do. The plot of the main quest line of Skyrim is your character is being escorted to be executed. You just wake up on a wagon and have a conversation with a guy, and this conversation is an extremely heavily memed sequence. But
hey, you. You're finally
hey,
awake.
You're finally awake. And I have a mug with that coffee mug with that saying on it.
It's not just a regular coffee mug. It is a temperature-sensitive coffee mug.
Yes, so it fades into view as it does in the game.
So the warmer the coffee, the more awake you'll be.
That's right. So
Very
you go to
clever
be
on multiple
executed,
levels.
and the character creation sequence is built into this because you're reporting to the executioner who you are and your where you're from and all this stuff. So it's kind of a neat little tie-in to...
Neat way to blend it in with the gameplay instead of starting you with a screen. And
Yeah.
It's kind of also seems to be kind of in Bethesda style, because I think in Fallout 4, don't you do that in front of a mirror or something in your bathroom, getting ready for the day?
And so, as the executioner is about to swing the axe on your neck, this dragon comes out of nowhere and lands on top of a building, but for some reason that coerces the executioner to drop his axe. And you get up and run away, and there are two different characters who you can sort of work with to help you break out of this place this prison town, essentially, that you've been taken to. And one of them is with the Empire, and the other is with the Stormcloaks, who are kind of this rebel faction of sort of Skyrim nationalists, which are, Skyrim is the name of the country in which the game takes place. It's one of the countries on the continent of Tamriel. So these Stormcloaks, they were going to execute their leader alongside you as part of they captured both of you as part of this thing. And so this is the point at which you sort of start to side with one or the other of the factions for the purposes of that quest line.
Mm-hmm. Is that decision something you do early on, or is it like kind of choices over the course of the game that
it's sort of choices over the course of the game. There's a certain point at which you can't go back,
Mm-hmm.
You can start out with the Empire, but once you break out and start doing your own thing, you can go with the Stormcloaks or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
But after you do certain things, then you can't, go back and do the other quest line.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it is a bit of accretion, but it's a bit of, at a certain point you've made a decision. And then you discover that you are the Dragonborn, which means that you can use the dragon's language. And they have these things called shouts, which are words of power that when you speak them, they do something. So there's the one you learn is called Unrelenting Force. And the famous Fus Roda are the 3 words of the shout.
Fus Roda! Yeah.
And it just pushes people back. There's a whole bunch of them that do different things. It's neat.
The magic system sounds a little bit like in Aragon, with like the whole words of power thing, but it's probably not nearly as developed that way.
That's not the whole magic system. That's just a Skyrim specific thing.
Gotcha.
So that isn't used elsewhere in the series.
Because you specifically are the Dragonborn who can do this.
You
thing.
specifically are the Dragonborn and can do this, and there are very few other people in the world who can do this. And none of them can do it as well as you can. Because they just kind of studied it and have devoted their whole lives to doing it, but you're a natural.
They're also kind of not the protagonists, so
They are not the protagonists, so they don't get the protagonist power. But they do teach you a lot about shouts after you discover
Avatar Dragonborn.
the Avatar. So you go to the Greybeards, who are the aforementioned other people in the world who know how to do shouts. And they teach you some more about shouts. From there, you're like, yes, you have to go stop Anduin, because Anduin is the name of a World of Warcraft character. Alduin is the name of the dragon that terrorized the place where you were breaking out of prison.
Gotcha.
So Alduin is going to bring about the end of the world, and you got to stop him. And so you do some things, you learn some more shouts, and you eventually stop Alduin.
Make me wanna shout.
The substance of the main quest line is relatively light. The selling point of Skyrim is really about primarily the visuals, of course, but more than that, it's about the sort of choice that you have. It's a very open sort of experience.
Is it open world properly, or is it kind of...
Yes, it's an extremely open world, and you can totally ignore the main quest line if you want to. There's really no consequence for doing so.
Mm-hmm.
This impending doom that there supposedly is perfectly content to wait for you to learn how to become an assassin and topple governments and stuff if you so felt like it.
Mm-hmm.
Alduin is a kind Ragnarok inducer. He's willing to wait for you.
It's like, yeah, I want to make sure I beat you specifically. I could just conquer the world now when you're not ready, but nah. No, it's all good.
I got time. I can fit this in my schedule later.
I'll see you in Valhalla, I'll meet you there.
I'll be there practicing my golf swing.
In Valhalla! Oh, I see what you did there.
They refer to it as Sovngarde, which is another name, but it's essentially that concept of Valhalla, the Hall of the Ancestors in the afterlife, where you go and beat up Alduin.
Mm.
In the course of doing so, you learn a shout that forces dragons to land. Because the annoying thing about dragons is that they can fly, and it's really hard to attack them, and they just shoot stuff at you from the sky. And they're really, really hard to beat until you learn this shout that forces them to come down. So, and...
It's like the goose call of the dragons. Try to get
Sort
them
of.
to come and land.
And they just plop down right in front of you, and when you kill one, you absorb their juice, and you can do various things with their
juice.
their souls, and yes, fighting dragons is a key theme of the game. But yeah, so the primary selling point, apart from the visuals, is just the freedom that you have in almost every respect. You know, you can be... There's not an absolute freedom in terms of customization, but there is a really wide variety of ways to play.
And you can like craft a character and like live like a life or...
Yeah, you can build your own house and just be a domestic farmer if you really want to.
I'm just a simple farmer, sir.
I'm just a simple farmer, sir. Or you can be a government-toppling assassin if you really wanted.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Well, you get paid a lot of money to do it, so...
That's my half. Yeah, that doesn't work. But anyway,
Yes.
knee-jerk
I mean,
references.
there is a clown, a jester that's part of the Assassin's Guild thing,
Nice.
and he's extremely annoying. I hate him, but... So yeah, there's a whole lot of quests to do. There's a whole lot of ways to build your persona and who you want to be within the context of the game. So just that the amount of stuff they created for you to do is pretty phenomenal. And they don't expect you to do all of it on any one playthrough. You could, if you so chose. There's nothing per se limiting you from doing that, but you know, if your goal is to, I want to be this sort of person, I want to be...
Is there a certain threshold where is there kind of like a limit to how powered you can get to face the final boss and to where that'll actually help you? Or do they design it in such a way where you can't just sort of yeet the boss at the end because you're so
can
OP?
very much yeet the final boss.
Okay. So it's sort
The
of an
final-
incentive to advance your character.
Yeah, the final boss is very trivial if you do just about anything other than play the main quest line straight through.
Mm-hmm.
So you're very much intended to start with the main quest line and just follow that through until you beat Alduin.
Mm-hmm.
And then do whatever.
You can ignore it, and if you come back, you know, there's a few times where you might want to go do some side stuff to power up a little bit, but by and large, that's what the path that's encouraged.
Yeah.
And it does get to be quite easy if you just do some side quests before you tackle the rest of it.
There's like
So that is one of the weaknesses of the design, but it depends on your perspective because you know, if you're playing it for the story, then it's just super easy.
And also one of the memes bits of Skyrim is like the stat bars that you can upgrade up to 100 or whatever, right? Because you have like sneak
the various skills. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's different. For I think it was Fallout 3, but there's like a boss you can defeat by just convincing him to run away from you if you get your persuasiveness all the way up or something like that.
There's a persuasion, like a speech skill in most of the Fallout and Skyrim games. And you can literally just talk down the final boss of Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah. Oh, that's
You
right.
just-
That's what it was. Yeah.
It's New Vegas, yeah. So just be like,
So it's kind of neat. It gives you like, there's not just like the one exploit you do to beat the boss at the end in like a cutscene or in like a quick time moment or whatever. Like you can, you know, customize that even how you fight the boss to a degree. That's kind of neat amount of
you
freedom.
can fight them by not fighting them.
Yeah.
I don't think you can talk down Alduin. I don't think that's a feature they built in. But
Yeah.
that would be interesting if you could.
There's probably a mod for that.
I'm sure there is.
Now,
That's another thing that Skyrim did extremely well is open the door pretty wide for mods. You know, they have all of Bethesda's games are really good about that, allowing you to add your own content. You know, they give you a package of stuff to work with, the game's assets, that you can build your own quest lines and everything with. It's very neat.
hence the Thomas dragons.
Or you can turn all of the dragons into Thomas the Tank Engine. And instead of roaring at you, they
whistle
do steam whistles and
Doo-doo.
the do-do-do-do,
As he slowly approaches. Not Skyrim, but I think one of the scariest Gary's modes I've seen is where you're hiding from Sanic as he's chasing you around with like this very dimly lit map, and like the
And,
closer
like, the
he
bass
gets, the
boosted
louder
Green
the
Hill
music
Zone?
gets. Yeah. Anyway,
Anyway,
Kinda
that's
reminded me
beside
of
the
that.
point.
Now with like leveling up your character and stuff, is there like a limited amount of points or something you can spend? Like you can't max out everything. Like you have to prioritize
No,
certain.
you certainly cannot max out everything. There's like an overall level system that I think there's. It's been so long since I played, but
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a specific set of skills that affect your overall level, and you can use points you get from there to allocate into your various skills.
Mm.
So yes, you cannot totally max out everything
Mm-hmm.
at any time.
Enough with details, though. Let's.
Well, I mean,
continue.
because that sort of plays into like how you customize,
Sure.
how like your character. It sort of reflects like you.
Your play style
Yes,
is reflected.
it's very
in the way you
much
build.
orients toward a role play. That's
Mhm.
sort of the goal of the whole character system in Skyrim, is to enable you to fulfill a particular fantasy or role you might have that
Mhm.
you want to play out. So that's, I would argue, one of its stronger points.
Cool. Anything else you wanted to cover, or should we go into the transcendental analysis?
Oh yes, the soundtrack.
Yep.
The soundtrack for Skyrim has the same creator that did the soundtracks for Morrowind and Oblivion.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been working with the Elder Scrolls games since they were a thing, pretty much. And it very perfectly suits the open world sort of Nordic feel that Skyrim is trying to give out.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the night sky is just, there's aurora. It's probably not Aurora Borealis, but it's Aurora whatever there is in this world.
Is Aurora Borealis like a specific part of the night
Yes,
sky?
it is the northern hemisphere's auroras. So
Gotcha.
it's not really modeled after what they would typically look like in North
Right.
America, to my
Right.
knowledge. So that's why I say that. But it's this very sort of celestial thing, and that is really evoked in the soundtrack. It's got these very sort of, I would say, transcendent, floating lines in them.
And then, of course, like the deep-throated main theme.
And
of
the deep-throated opening theme
Mm-hmm.
that you can just crank it up and
Oh, yeah.
shut. It's not like, I can't do it justice on this, but
Oh, yeah.
go and listen to it.
Yeah, just look
Just-
up Skyrim main theme, and
Oh, yeah.
Skyrim main theme.
it's good stuff. It's very
It's
manly.
wonderful. It's very Nordic,
Yeah,
which is
My-
precisely what they're going for.
yeah.
Mhm.
I think I know that if my podcast memory serves, I remember in the first episode we were talking about one of the first couple episodes we were talking about like the different moments like with video games that really struck us as beautiful. And I think what you had talked about was like the
Skyrim
night
was mine.
the Skyrim,
night
especially
sky
the night
was
sky.
Skyrim.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that obviously had impact on you.
Yeah. I don't even know how to describe it in a way that will do justice to it. You just have to
play it.
go play it. You just
Yeah.
have to play it.
Experience it yourself.
And especially with the special edition. So they kind of did a bit of a remaster in 2015. They sort of upscaled the
Little
textures
HD
for
facelift.
For modern hardware or modern day 2015.
modern day 2015 hardware.
That was 5
And-
years ago. Oh my gosh.
Going back to the original Skyrim, you can tell, yeah, this was made in 2011.
Like playing BioShock versus remastered.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
BioShock's good. We should do an episode on that at some point.
Yeah, we would. We do. Especially since we've played it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other point that I would like to say, and this can probably lead into beauty, or no,
Whichever one
Anyway.
we want to start with.
it just the almost unfathomable amount of work put into this game. It just really strikes me whenever I play it.
It's like the
world is so massive, so expansive.
the artistry and
It's
craftsmanship.
It's so detailed. Just the sheer amount of attention and care and love put into the development of this game is like nothing that had ever happened up to that point. And even today still stands as just a masterwork of, visual effects in games, and not even just effects, but just the static world itself is
The world design.
And like
it's-
world building. And,
It's not even so much the design as like the craftsmanship that went into it.
yeah. And the artistry and like
Mhm.
the level of dedication it takes.
It's like admiring a painting by a master painter.
Or like a well sculpted edifice on a building. Like an old cathedral or something like
Yeah.
somebody put like they could have built just a regular looking door, but instead they decided to do a facade with all these statues on it.
And
kind of
like
a thing.
somebody worked on that.
Yeah, somebody physically with their hands made bit by bit this whole thing. And that's pretty
Yeah.
inspirational.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, I guess we're doing a little out of order, but anything else in the beauty department?
Nope, I think we thoroughly covered the beauty. It's just a beautiful world, and you gotta play it to experience that.
That's not it, but truth. What sort of truth can we glean from this game?
Without diving too deeply into the particulars of any quest line, I would say the primary point of truth that Skyrim works with is kind of the reorienting of the classical use of symbols. So like in classical literature, the dragon was a universally evil thing, and just like it was irredeemable. It was
All
to
out,
be
like,
understood.
revelation.
To be understood strictly as a symbol for evil.
Uh-huh.
And that's a sentiment that Skyrim kind of gets back to with the main quest line in particular.
You ain't trading and riding these dragons.
They play with that a little bit after you've beaten the main quest line by introducing a singular good dragon. But for the most part, they're trying to evoke that sort of storytelling and
Kind
use
of
of
classical
symbolism.
mythology symbolism.
Yeah. So that is good and true at the same time. So
We not good out already?
not already. I
Okay.
think there's more to say on the goodness front.
Okay.
In general, just the opportunity for heroism that you have as this extremely powerful person. There's many circumstances that allow you to make decisions, like a lot of other things. It doesn't force you to make those decisions, but it does
Invites you
provide
to
an
participate in those decisions.
It invites you to be a hero.
Mhm.
You may choose not to be, but it certainly makes the invitation to you. So
By the way,
use your extreme powers for good. please.
You did mention that there are two factions we can align ourselves with over the course of the game. Is one the morally superior choice to the other?
Or are they both kind of ambiguous?
They aren't ambiguous, but they are neither of them wholly good.
Sure.
Okay.
So,
It gives you a reason to pick one over the other. Or
they are both. They both have their faults, and they both have their reasons for standing up for what they stand up for, and they both kind of go about it the wrong way. So you have to decide what cause is more worth fighting for. I would say that that's not... Because if one was clearly better than the other, it wouldn't be much of a choice.
Right.
So
Plus, they're introducing nuance.
Well, they're trying to make a point about human wars insofar as they are
Not nearly as black
seldom
and white.
black and white.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that nationalism is dangerous, but also extremely authoritarian government is also dangerous.
But there's opportunities for heroism in both.
Yes, there are.
Neat.
Unity, I guess. I think we're on that one now.
As I've mentioned, I think its uniting principle is this Scandinavian Nordic aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
It's there's lots of mountains and mountain scandals.
Mountains.
And fjords and all of this, very typical Scandinavian geography. And also this very serene Arctic night sky. And, a lot of the character designs, kind of the NPC outfits and things like that, and homes are all very, Viking age sort of thing.
That would explain the laser raptors.
It would indeed.
There aren't laser raptors, but cool.
Cool.
Yeah, neat. Something I'll definitely need to get some playing time in. Especially as winter approaches, I'll be able to feel less guilty about staying inside
Mm-hmm.
and sitting on me bum, playing
Me
games.
boom.
Playing games. Well, ladies and gentlemen, lady and gentlemen, our two listeners.
All both of yous.
My beloved two listeners, or if you're another one of the two, we welcome you as well at the end of the podcast. Thanks for listening. I guess any final words from anybody? Have anything to say? I think we've said quite a bit. So, yeah, thanks for listening. You can find us on Spotify, especially iTunes, Google Play, which will soon become YouTube Music or whatever, and Stitcher, at Palapapist, Twitter, Facebook, email, paladypapist@gmail.com, all that good stuff. So, yeah, we will catch you again in the next episode. Fare thee well.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.